You are welcome to the Messiah Revelation Ministry. We operate as an end-time prophetic ministry. We are dedicated to preparing the world for the arrival of the Messiah. You need to know that Yeshua, Jesus Christ, is preparing to come. He's coming to judge the world, and he will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah. A lot of questions are being asked, and people are debunking the message of the Hebrew Israelites, the message that the Hebrews are still scattered over the world, and they will be gathered by the Messiah Yeshua when he comes. And the prophet Isaiah is very specific about that prophecy, and that prophecy is in Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, chapter 11, verse 11. Today we are asking the question, can black people be real Hebrews? Can they be Hebrews? Blacks in Haiti, in Brazil, in the Caribbean, in Africa, in Asia, in the United States, can they be real Hebrews? If I don't use the term Hebrew, if I use the word Jew, a lot of people are also asking the question, how can a black person be a Jew? And the question is being asked over the world, how can a black person be the chosen of God? And how can a black person be a Hebrew? And the identity of the Hebrew is being denied. The identity of a Hebrew, those who are scattered over the world, is being denied. And I've looked at so many writings, so many commentaries, and so many videos, and those who are denying the identity of the black Hebrew, they come with many colors. It's not only white people who are denying the identity of the Hebrew, the black Hebrew. There are a lot of black people who also deny the identity of the black Hebrew. And when I say black people, I'm talking about Africa, I'm talking about United States. And some of those people who oppose the message of Hebrew Israelites, a lot of them are even black people, and they are pastors in churches in the United States, and they are leading in the fight against the awakening of the black Hebrews. And definitely there are also pastors in Africa and other parts of the world, and they are ignorant about the identity of the Hebrew, and so they are not awakening their congregation. There are strategies that are being used to destroy the message of the black Hebrew. Those who are awakening the Hebrews, the message that they have, there are strategies being used to destroy the message, and even in some cases destroy the messengers, and the intention is to keep their mouth shut. And the first strategy is to say that Hebrew Israelites, and they add the word black to be very specific. Black Hebrew Israelites, they are a movement. And when they say they are a movement is formed, and it doesn't have any connection to the Bible. It doesn't have any connection to the kingdom of God. It's a movement. and movements emerge based upon certain circumstances, and movement come and go. They don't have any historic identity with the Hebrews in the Bible and the Old Testament. And so Black Hebrew Israelite is a movement, and people go to the extent of saying that it is a cult. And they give you the evidence, and the evidence they give you is that the mother of Martin Luther King was assassinated, and she was assassinated by a black man who was a member of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement. And so the movement is violent. The movement is a cult. And they cite recent experience where, I believe in New Jersey, United States, and somebody was killed by a member of the Hebrew Israelite. And so they give you that evidence that, yea, the Hebrew Israelites, they are violent and they are a cult. And some people even compare the Hebrew Israelites with the violent organization, a white supremacist organization, and the Ku Klux Klan that has been in business for a long time, the business of lynching black people. And we will not go into details because the history is very clear. And so it will be just a disaster to compare Black Hebrew Israelites with the Ku Klux Klan. It is comparing apples and oranges. This message is not to condone any violence, particularly among people who identify as Hebrew Israelites. There's no room for violence, and there's no room for using vulgar language, and any violence that is used in the spreading of the awakening should be condemned. The awakening is very clear. Point number one, the identity of the Hebrew Israelites has been suppressed, and these are the Hebrew Israelites. These are those who were scattered over the world. They are scattered over the world, and the prophecy in Isaiah 11 confirms that they are scattered. If they are not scattered over the world, the prophet Isaiah will not say that the Messiah will gather them from all the four corners of the earth. If they are not scattered, the prophet Ezekiel will not say they will be gathered from all the four corners of the earth. And if they will not be gathered in the end times, and the prophet Isaiah will not have written in Isaiah 11:11 that the root of Jesse, the Messiah, Yeshua, Jesus Christ, will be the one who will gather them. And so they are using strategies, first of all, to paint the Hebrew Israelites as a cult, and they will compare them to cults that have emerged in the United States, whether you're talking about David Koresh, and whether you are talking about other cults that have emerged in the United States. But there's no comparison between David Koresh, a white man from, I believe, Texas, who was a cult leader, and there's no comparison. So to compare Hebrew Israelites with cults like David Koresh is an extreme strategy to destroy the message of Hebrew Israelite awakening and to keep people's mouth shut. What do you do to a cult? You arrest members of the court, you prosecute members of the court, you defame members of the court, and you destroy their message. Of course, you know what happened to David Koresh. Their buildings were set on fire, and they were killed. And you know what happened to the civil rights movement when black organizations were identified as hot, radical, militant, and they were targeted for destruction. It was a government policy to destroy militant black organizations, and the organizations were infiltrated to be destroyed. It is a general strategy of the haters of the Black Awakening to infiltrate black organizations and also to destroy the message and, if possible, the messengers. And the idea is to prevent the rise of a black Messiah. And that is the official policy of the United States. It was the policy of Elijah Hoover, who was director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the Hebrew Israelite movement has been infiltrated, and groups have been formed and funded by enemies of the awakening in order to project the myth that black Hebrews are caught, they are violent. I'm not denying violence that comes from people who claim to be Hebrew Israelites. But when we're talking about violence, violence were perpetrated by those who even claim to be pastors. And black churches were subjected to violence by people who were members of the Klein organization. Black churches were bombed. And I believe some of those people who were in the KKK, I believe some of them were pastors. They were pastors of churches. And so violence is not confined to Hebrew Israelites. Is confined to other churches. After all, the Hebrew Israelites over the world, they have been subjected to violence. The transatlantic slave trade was a violent episode where Hebrew Israelites, they were kidnapped against their will, and some of them were cast into the sea. The case of the Zong massacre, Zong, where a British ship carrying black slaves developed quote-unquote emergency, and black men and women were thrown into the sea, and the slave merchants filed for insurance to claim compensation for the loss of property. And so the slave merchants were violent. Some churches were violent, and they used violence to destroy the Hebrew Israelites. And so to make a conclusive statement that all Hebrew Israelites are violent, they are caught, it's not based upon any evidence, but it's part of a strategy to destroy the message of the awakening of the Hebrews, and also to keep people's mouth shut. I was watching a video, and the presenter is a black person, a black woman, and I believe she is an African American, and she is saying that the Hebrew Israelites movement, and she was referring to the United States, is a cult, is violent, and she went ahead to discredit the originators of the Hebrew Israelites idea. And two people are very important here. F.S. Cherry and Crowdy, William Crowdy. These were former slaves who pioneered the idea that the slaves who were shipped into the United States are Hebrews. And this presenter said that F.S. Cherry was a Freemason. Now, what's the purpose of saying that a black Hebrew Israelite is a Freemason? And definitely, it is to discredit the awakening of the Hebrew Israelite movement. If you look at the Freemasons, definitely they are everywhere. They are in churches. They are in white churches. They are in black churches. And that doesn't mean that somebody is not a Hebrew Israelite because he's a member of the Freemason. After all, if you look at the Freemason, they have influence over the world. After all, the Supreme Court building in Israel was it not built by the Freemason? And so why do you discredit somebody by saying that he was a Freemason? How will you discredit F.S. Cherry that he was a Freemason and therefore he cannot be a Hebrew, he cannot be a chosen of God? After all, the Supreme Court building in Israel, it was built, it was helped, it was assisted. The project was done by the Freemason. The Freemason is an organization that is everywhere, and they are not only they do not only operate in black organizations, they operate in white organizations. And of course, I want to state that in the history of the United States, the Freemason was instrumental in establishing black colleges and universities. They were instrumental in the church in the United States. After all, the NAACP and a lot of historic black colleges and universities, they were assisted by the Freemason. And so the Freemason is everywhere, but that doesn't discredit the Hebrew Israelite movement by saying that F.S. Cherry was a Freemason. I'm not sure whether it is true or false, but this is a black lady, an American lady, discrediting the Hebrew awakening by insinuating that one of the originators of the Black Hebrew Israelite movement in the United States, F.S. Cherry, was a member of the Freemason. You are an anti-Semitic when you claim, you preach that the Hebrews are the black people who are scattered over the world. You are anti-Semitic. And it's a wrong conclusion. It's one of the tactics that is being used to destroy the message of Black Hebrew awakening, to destroy the messengers of the Black Hebrew awakening, and to shut the mouth of the messengers of Black Hebrew awakening. You are anti-Semitic if you make any comment that is considered as anti-Israel, Israel of 1948. If you make any comment that they consider to be anti-Jew, if you make any comment to infer that the Hebrews are black, They don't like it at all. They don't want you to say that a black person can be a chosen of God. They don't want you to say that a black person is within the zone of salvation. They don't want you to say that the people who will be guarded by the root of Jesse, who are scattered all over the world, they are Hebrews. They don't want you to say that. They don't want you to cite Isaiah 11:11. And they don't want you to preach about Deuteronomy 28 because it is a textual support for the argument that the Hebrews, the true Hebrews, are those who went through the curses enumerated in Deuteronomy 28, and particularly Deuteronomy 28:68, where the Lord told Moses that his people will be shipped into Egypt again, and they will be sold as slaves. And so you are an anti-Semitic, and I don't know the definition of anti-Semitic or anti-Semitism, but definitely if you say that you are a black person and you are a Hebrew, and that is anti-Semitic. If you write a book about it, you are anti-Semitic. If you share a link to a book claiming that the Hebrews are Negroes, you are anti-Semitic. And if you are a basketball player, you'll be suspended. And if you have any platform, and the platform will be severely censored, and views will be suppressed, and other tactics will be used to intimidate you, to destroy you, and to destroy your platform. And the intent is to destroy the message and also to keep your mouth shut. It's no wonder that recently Israel's consul in Atlanta made a speech, a lady, and she openly said that the black youth in America, they are a threat to Israel. Why are black children, black youth, men and women, why are they a threat to Israel? They are a threat to Israel because they are awakening to the fact that they are the real Hebrews who are scattered over the world. And the awakening definitely is a threat to the powers that be. The awakening should be a threat to Israel of 1948. The awakening should be a threat to false theology propounded particularly by white American evangelicals who have no clue as to who the real Israelites are. They are not, they don't have the knowledge, they don't have the revelation. The revelation has not come to them. But even if the revelation has come to them, they profit from misinformation. They profit from preaching false theologies, because definitely they have to preach what is politically correct, because they operate organizations that are controlled by Internal Revenue Service Code 501C, and they have to preach what is politically correct. And it's politically correct to say that the real Israel is the 1948 state. It's politically correct to preach that the Hebrews are already guarded. It's politically correct to preach that, even though everybody is aware that Isaiah 11:11 says that it is the Messiah who will gather the outcasts of Israel and the dispersed of Judah from all the four corners of the earth. And so black and white preachers, those who want to preach what is politically correct, they deny Black Hebrew awakening because it is out of the norms. It is not part of the acceptable preaching, the acceptable Bible interpretation in America. It is not part of it to preach that, hey, black people, they are Hebrews. Hey, the slaves who were kidnapped and shipped to United States, they are Hebrews. They were subjected to torture. They were subjected to genocide, and they have been oppressed, and they have been suppressed, and they have gone through all type of mistreatment in fulfillment of prophecy, and therefore they are the true Hebrews. The powers that be, the norms of society, those who control the Bible, those who control the platforms that are used to preach the Bible, those who control the mega churches, those who control the media, they are all in cahoot. They are actually part of a system to destroy the message of Black awakening with the intent to keep people's mouth shut so that they cannot spread the awakening of the Hebrews. The idea that the Hebrews are still scattered over the world, the black man is a Hebrew, is scattered over the world. These people who are destroying the Hebrew awakening, as I said, they are not only white people, they are also black people. And some of the videos that I've watched, a lot of them are people who they are pastors, and they are also internet pastors, and they are destroying the Hebrew awakening. In fact, some of them even say that the Hebrews are only those who are in the United States. Only black people in the US who were enslaved qualified to be the true Hebrews. And some of them say that the tribes of Jacob, they look at a country and then they say, oh yeah, this country qualifies to be the tribe of Benjamin. Now these people qualify to be the tribe of Ephraim. These people, they qualify to be the tribe of Joseph. These people qualify to be the tribe of. They will mention the 12 tribes of Israel, and then they will identify who is who. It's not based upon any divine revelation. It's based upon their own whims and caprices. It's based upon their own intuition. It's all part of the strategy to destroy the Black awakening. I'm here to say that when somebody says he's a Hebrew and he's a black person, the text of the Bible is very clear. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. The children of God will be sent into Egypt again in ships, and they will be sold as slaves. And when you see the slave dungeons dotting over all Africa, Elimina slave dungeon, Caicos slave dungeon, slave dungeons in Senegal and other parts of the world, they are all supporting the text in Deuteronomy 28. A history supports the argument that blacks are Hebrews. History books, they support it. Manuscripts that are stolen and hidden in museums all over the world, in London, in United States, suppress information. They support the argument. Books that have been burnt, intentionally burnt, manuscripts that have been destroyed, maps that have been changed, paintings that have been done, they are all part of the evidence showing that a black people was a Hebrew, and that identity has been stolen, has been distorted. When I say that blacks are Hebrews, they are scattered over the world. I'm not a member of a court. I don't believe in courts. I'm not violent. And so you cannot associate my message with any violence or any court. I'm here to tell you that I've received vision about the identity of the Negroes who are actually Hebrews. The Lord will gather them based upon the vision that have been given to me, a vision that I saw October 30th, 2007, a vision about the prophet Jeremiah, a vision about the gathering of the Hebrews, the African Americans. They will come true, they will come to pass. And so for those who are preaching that Hebrew Israelites are caught, your message is false. You must have seen some instances of court activity, but it doesn't give you any basis to conclude that all Hebrew Israelites movement are caught. You have the evidence that the mother of Martin Luther King was killed by somebody who was a Hebrew Israelite, but that doesn't give you any basis to conclude that Hebrew Israelites are violent. Who sponsored the killing of the mother of Martin Luther King? Was it politically convenient to say that he who killed the mother of Martin Luther King is a Hebrew Israelite? After all, don't they leave incriminating evidence on crime scheme intentionally in order to prove a crime? Is it not what they have been doing over? To link crime with black people by planting the evidence? Is it not part of the modus operandi? Is racism not part of the criminal justice system in the United States and all over the world? You can try to distort the awakening, but you will not succeed, because the awakening is divine and you can not distort it, whether you are a white person or you are a black person. And for those who are ignorant about the Black Hebrew identity, that is fine. But for those who know it and they are intentionally suppressing it, judgment will come to you. I'm leaving the links of this video in the description box. Share the video. The Hebrews are scattered over the world. The Messiah is coming to awaken them. For the Hebrew Israelites, repent and obey the commandments. Your Redeemer is on his way. Thank you for watching this video.